Yep, you got it tuned to KMUD Garberville, 91.1 FM and HD1, KMUE Eureka, 88.1 FM and HD1, KLAI Laytonville, 90.3 FM, and on the web at kmud.org, and FM translator K258BQ, Shelter Cove 99.5. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. Again, this is Javi, and this is Talking Chi, where it's all about the energy. And today we're talking about the energy of pain. What is it? Where does it come from? How do we deal with it? And we're going to hopefully look at pain through the Qigong lens, and we're going to utilize some Tai Chi principles to hopefully neutralize pain and make friends with pain. So I did this challenge for myself right before the first of the year in the last 2 weeks, and I challenged myself to try to help 100 people to make friends with their pain. And so I issued out a call on via email and Facebook and whatnot. And well, let's just say I didn't reach 100. So I failed quantity wise, but I would also say quality wise, I succeeded and made some lasting connections and help people to make friends with their pain. And so what I want to share with you today is a little bit of what I learned through that, share a little bit about my pain experiences, if something resonates with you, if there's something that you'd like to share, if there's something that you're currently utilizing that you found success in, then we'd love to hear it, because a lot of us are dealing with pain. And I have some statistics here that I want to share in regards to chronic pain. And in terms of the, let's say the numbers of people that deal with pain. So if you'd like to call in, the number is 923-3911, 923-3911. And again, we're talking about pain. Today, we're going to talk about pain through the Qigong lens and utilizing Tai Chi principles so that folks can make friends with pain. And I'll show you and I'll tell you about my journey and how I've come to the realization that we can't see pain through an enemy lens or through enemy images, but yet you have to make friends with it. So how many Americans suffer from chronic pain? This is a statistic from 2022. Overall, findings indicate that more than 1 in 5 adults in America experiences chronic pain. Additional attention to managing the burden of this disease is warranted. So when you go out, you see a crowd, 1 in 5 people is experiencing chronic pain. And so I think there's some distinctions between chronic pain and acute pain. Chronic pain is more of the disease, consistent. Some people, what I found out, have pain 24/7, and I was just kind of blown away at this. I couldn't imagine having an issue or being in pain 24/7. And from my experience and the way that I approach pain, I face it and I employ strategies to try to neutralize it. So that's what I do, and that's what I've learned, and that's because I've developed a relationship with my body through my Tai Chi, Qigong, and martial arts training. How many Americans suffer with pain? Nearly 20 million Americans suffer from chronic pain that interferes with their daily activities, according to a new report from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. In a new study, researchers have found that the prevalence of chronic pain is increasing for all demographics of U.S. adults. The research, which appears in the journal Demography, highlights that the prevalence of chronic pain has increased the most for people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. That's from May 2021. Disease can also be the underlying cause of chronic pain. Rheumatoid arth. Oops. Yep. Sorry, not going to do that or use that. Again, disease can also be the underlying cause of chronic pain. Rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, and fibromyalgia are well-known culprits, but persistent pain may also be due to such ailments as cancer, multiple sclerosis, stomach ulcers, AIDS, and gallbladder disease. Question: what disorder causes the most pain? What disorder causes the most pain in people, according to statistics? It's called borderline personality disorder. It's long been believed to be a disorder that produces the most intense emotional pain and distress in those who have this condition. So this is really interesting. What disorder causes the most pain? When we think of pain, we think of the physical experience. But this borderline personality disorder highlights the distinction and the prevalence of emotional pain and distress. And this presents many problems. Why? Because a lot of our personal experiences are subjective. Even neuroscientists who study consciousness in a way are unable to verify subjectivity, one person's individual subjective experience. We all know we're having an experience as we're walking in our earth suits in this realm on this planet, yet it is difficult for scientists to verify that we are all having an actual individual subjective experience from the consciousness point of view. Again, what disorder causes the most pain? Borderline personality disorder, which produces the most intense emotional pain and distress. So again, if you're just tuning in, this is Talking Chi, and I'm Javi, and we're talking about pain today. In my recent Holiday 100 challenge, I was trying to reach people who were suffering from physical pain, and I was waiting for someone to bring up emotional pain or psychological distress. And there was one person that did, and I found that really interesting. And that was just something that I was kind of waiting for, and something that I also like to step into as well. People living with chronic pain are at heightened risk for mental health problems. So what do you think are the mental health problems that are associated with chronic pain? Just take a second. Mental health. We know that pre-pandemic, we were experiencing epidemics of anxiety and depression, and through the pandemic, with the pandemic, and maybe even now, are we in post-pandemic? I'm not sure exactly. Hopefully pandemic is phasing out. It's becoming more endemic, and we're learning to live with it. People living with chronic pain are at heightened risk for mental health problems, including depression, anxiety, and substance use disorders. Chronic pain can affect sleep, increase stress levels, and contribute to depression. An estimated 35% to 45% of people with chronic pain experience depression. That's from a statistic in 2020. Finally, and we'll highlight this a little bit more, and we'll talk a little bit more. What has been our Western approach? What has been our Western approach? I'm going to highlight some Eastern practices and principles. What would you say is our Western approach to dealing with pain? Specifically, when we go to the doctor, what's the doctor's approach? Why do doctors not like pain meds? Opioid medications have long been prescribed to help people manage their chronic pain and live productive lives. However, the rising tide of the opioid crisis has led to concerns that opioids are overprescribed. This has led some doctors to stop prescribing pain medication to patients who need it. That's from a study in January 2022. If you're just tuning in, this is Talking Chi. You're listening to KMUD, and it's 9:16 right now. Hope you're doing well out there, and hope you're taking precautions and mitigations to help release pain and tension in yourself, in your body. So what is pain? Understanding pain and how it works is a key part of how healthcare providers diagnose medical conditions. It can also help people better describe their pain to a provider while seeking help with a health issue. To understand how pain works, it helps to first know about how your nervous system functions. Your brain has no nerve endings of its own and has no direct knowledge of the world around you. That's why you have senses like vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. A stimulus pronounced stimulus, and the word stimuli is anything your senses, including vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, can detect. Your body has a specific process for detecting and reacting to harm. In Tai Chi, we learn that the human experience is divided between the yin dimension and the yang dimension. The yang dimension is what we all can see, and as referred to here from the senses, what we can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. And then we have the yin dimension, the yin side. And this is more of our subjective experience, our internal processes, our internal experiences, our feelings, our thoughts, what we cannot see. And that's why it's referred to the yin dimension. This is connected to our subconscious life. This is connected to our emotional life, body, and well-being. And then consequently, this is also subjected to our connected to our soul and our spiritual life and well-being. That's yin dimension, and yang dimension. When we practice and study Qigong and even Tai Chi Chuan, we practice, learn, and move forward through our life and experience with this yin and yang understanding, and with the idea of dual cultivation in the sense of duality of the yin and yang, where we are not only cultivating the physical body, strength, endurance, wellness, and whatnot, but also the unseen cultivation, that of the soul, that of the emotional body, that of the spiritual body. And so this is why we distinguish monkey mind and wisdom mind. Monkey mind, it's described as a monkey swinging from tree to tree and not entirely focused or disciplined or settled, in contrast to the horse and the wisdom mind, the horse that is tamed, resilient, strong. And it's just this symbol. The horse is this symbol of wisdom, or this path toward wisdom in dual cultivation. Going back to what I'm reading here, your body has a specific process for detecting and reacting to harm. So the reason that I mentioned yin and yang, the yin jin and the yang jin, those distinguished dimensions, is because in Tai Chi, we distinguish, well, what is in between the yin side, your spiritual, emotional experience, and your physical experience. What is in between your internal subjective feeling experience and your external experience that everyone can see? What is in between that? So we distinguish that the senses and the feeling is what is in between and what helps communication between the yin dimension and the yang dimension, the feeling and the senses. So what's the mechanism? We talk about, these are just things that I learned in Qigong and things that I use and I try to integrate in my daily life and help people to make friends with their pain. What is the mechanism that is connected to senses and feeling? That's going to be the nervous system. Okay, so here's a little bit of science. Noxious stimuli, from the Latin word noxa, which means hurt or injury, cause damage to cells of your body. That damage triggers the release of special chemicals into the surrounding tissue. Your nervous system has specialized receptors called nociceptors. These work like smoke alarms in your home, detecting signs of a problem and sounding a warning immediately. When nociceptors detect the released chemicals from damaged or destroyed cells, they immediately send high priority signals to your brain, alerting it to the problem. The signals they send aren't pain itself. Your body receives these high priority signals and translates them into the feeling of pain. Your brain also maps that feeling to the area that first sent the signals, so you know where the problem is. The feeling of pain, yes, we know pain is a problem. The feeling of pain triggers immediate reactions in your brain and body. Those reactions are usually protective, such as triggering the reflex muscles and movements to move you away from whatever the noxious stimuli might be. Nociceptors also trigger immune and repair processes in your body to help protect you from infections and recover from injuries you might receive. So there's a little bit of that science there that helps to unpack this idea that the nerves are between our yin experience, our yin dimension, and yang dimension, our external, what everyone else can see. The perception of pain. Pain is subjective. We talked about this a little bit, meaning how you experience pain is unique and nobody else experiences it the same way you do. One person might find an experience unbearably painful, while another person might find the same experience only slightly uncomfortable. Many factors, including genetic mutations, medical conditions, and more, can affect how a person feels pain. Even a person's state of mind can make pain feel better or worse. So let's highlight that because we're going to come back to that. Even a person's state of mind can make pain feel better or worse. As people age and deal with injuries, illnesses, and different causes of pain, how they experience pain also changes. An example of this would be a child's reaction when they get a shot compared to how adults react in that situation. However, chronic pain can also change the way a person feels pain, making pain more frequent or more intense. Obviously, if your nerve system is already subjected to pain 24/7, your threshold, your willingness, your openness to receive a new sort of pain, maybe a acute pain, is going to be lacking. So one person who's in chronic pain is not going to unfortunately be resilient to handle acute pain. And this could be physical pain. This could be psychological or emotional pain, and even interpersonal pain. This is something that I don't think I hear much spoken about, interpersonal pain. And I feel that this is one of the most prominent experiences that we are currently subjected to right now that is affecting our psychological, emotional, and spiritual well-being and life. The yin dimension. Interpersonal pain, unfortunately, is going to, in my view, diminish the spiritual existence, life, and even well-being. So hope we're gonna highlight that and hopefully come back to that. We should also know that pain is a protective process. Pain is a protective process, especially when it tells you that you have an injury or something that's happening to a part of your body that could cause an injury. It's a key symptom that tells you when you're sick, helping you act to take care of yourself or seek medical attention. However, pain can also cause problems of its own when it's very severe or when it lasts for a long period. Over time, chronic pain can change how your nervous system creates and handles pain signals. And that can make the nociceptors fire too easily. Remember, the nociceptors send the pain signals to the brain. So chronic pain can make nociceptors fire too easily, making pain more frequent and more intense, which can lead to disorders such as things that are listed here that I can't even say or pronounce. Obviously, the subjective experience, the quality of life is diminished. So, what is the connection to mental health and pain? And so, I hope this this can help to round out this idea where we talk about the yin gen and the yang gen. If you're just listening, we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, it's 9:27. I'm Javi. This is Talking Chi. We're talking about the experience of pain. We've distinguished the yin dimension, the yin gen, the yang dimension, the yang gen. That's what the yang side is, what we all can see. And the yin side is what we all feel. Your physical and mental health are intricately linked in ways that experts and researchers still don't fully understand. However, they do know that the two are linked, and the link goes both ways. That's why feeling anxiety can also make you feel queasy or nauseated, or feeling fear can cause a sinking feeling in your belly. Pain is no exception to that, as it can negatively affect your mental health, and your mental health can affect the way you experience pain. We're talking about the experience of pain today, and I'm doing also a little debrief on my Holiday 100 challenge that I did, where I challenged myself to help 100 people with pain. And this is something that I would like to continue doing, because it really sort of helped me reach to my core, utilize my skills and my knowledge, and connect with people and to solve some problems for people. One thing that I didn't know was that one could experience pain 24/7, 7 days a week. Imagine that people are walking around out there experiencing pain 24/7, 7 days a week. Let's take a deep breath, if you will. If you will join me and take a deep breath and find this sense of centeredness, stability, ease, and comfort, and just really send some good vibes, some good energy, and hopefully some healing energy to all those that are experiencing pain. Remember, at the top of the hour, I noted that statistics tell us that 1 in 5 people are currently dealing with chronic pain. So that's chronic pain. It doesn't tell us how many people are dealing with acute pain. It doesn't tell us how many people are dealing with emotional pain or interpersonal pain. And I think a lot of us are being subjected to a lot of interpersonal pain right now, in the sense that person to person, unfortunately we are experiencing some rifts, we are experiencing some conflicts, some disconnections, and this is definitely diminishing our quality of life. So if you care to join me, taking some deep breaths, maybe even closing your eyes. Don't close your eyes if you're driving. If you're laying in bed right now, take a deep breath for yourself. If you're sitting having your morning tea or coffee, take a deep breath, and let's just have a moment of meditation and silence for those that are currently experiencing pain. And we're also going to give some silence to you as you're also, if you're also experiencing pain. So I'd like to introduce, I'm running out of time here. I'd like to introduce a concept that we learn in Tai Chi. It's a principle of softness to subdue hardness, softness to subdue the hard. Why is this important? Well, it has to do with our approach. So you're experiencing pain and you want to get rid of the pain. We talked about how the opioid crisis has not fared well for us. So what can we do, and what tools can we use, and what principles can we use to guide us? And so the Eastern thought that I like, and that helps me, and what I like to give to people when I'm helping people with pain, is something that can be found in the Tao-Te-Ching, the Tao-Te-Ching. So I'll read a little bit of the Tao-Te-Ching here. The movements of the Tao's function do not disobey timing and do not lose qi. So the Tao does not disobey timing. It has no sense of timing, and it has no sense of energy, really. It doesn't lose or doesn't gain energy. When it gives, it does not choose objects. When the Tao gives, it doesn't choose who it gives to. When it takes, it doesn't choose who it takes to, but is following a myriad of objects' needs. The Tao is following the needs of nature. It does not oppose the usage of objects. Thus, it is able to follow the property of the objects, yielding entirely. This can be described as softness. Yielding entirely is softness. When it is in use, it can enter water and fire without a gap, penetrate the metal and the stone without a trace, and satisfy myriad of objects without a shortage. So the Tao has an abundance of energy. The universe has an abundance of energy and healing energy that we have access to. And so all we really need is the know-how to access that qi, pull it in, and utilize it for our healing needs. And so here's where we get to this key idea. The Tao does not use hardness, but softness. And this is what the Book of Changes, the I Ching, said. When seeing a group of dragons without the head, without its leader, it is good fortune. Therefore, it is said, softness is the usage of the Tao. Softness is the usage of the Tao. So some of that is hard to interpret, and it's Chinese poetry uses a lot of imagery, but the imagery can help to give us the idea. The main concept here is the idea of softness. So for all of us living out in the woods right now, we know the importance of firewood. You don't look for kindling or sticks that are soft or pliable in nature, or in their nature. You look for the twigs and the sticks that are hard, because they break, and they break because they are dry, and they're dry because they are dead. And so when we look to nature and we look at the Tao and we look at ourselves, we want to be those soft, pliable bodies, because those are more represented by life and holding life and vitality. So rigidity is a concept and a feeling and a sense that we try to stay away from in Tai Chi practice. And we try to embody softness. We try to intellectualize the idea of softness, but we also try to embody the sense and the feeling and hold this in the nervous system of softness, because With softness, there's flow. With rigidity, again, there's death, there's breakage. If you approach a situation, or if you approach a conflict or a person with hardness, with a hard emotion, psychology, or even a hard body, you may be stronger. You take the chance of being stronger and overpowering. However, it's more sustainable to approach with softness, because at some point, the hardness is likely to break and to be broken. And again, this is associated with death. And so this is how we approach pain. And this is how we can help to make friends, make sense, and make peace with pain. And so I hope this concept is resonating with you. Again, just to review, we've talked about the yin dimension and the yang dimension, the physical experience of pain, but also the psychological, emotional experience of pain. When we are bouncing off, on and off each other throughout the day, it's possible we experience interpersonal pain. And it's difficult to wrap our hands around that internal subjective feeling process. One person might say, well, I'm angry and I'm hurt. How can you validate, and how can you make sense, and how can you verify that one person is feeling what they're feeling? Well, you just got to take their word for it, because you can't verify. You can't say, well, I don't think you're really feeling that. But this is the problem that people have when they go to the doctor and they tell them that they're experiencing pain, because Western medicine and machinery can only tell us when the tissues are damaged. So oftentimes people go to the doctor and say, well, I'm experiencing pain in this area. Doctor says, well, so it used to be that doctors would tell patients, well, that it's all in your head. And that wouldn't help anything or anybody. Pain would continue. Patient comes back. Doctor says, I'm not seeing anything here. There's nothing wrong. Patient says, I'm experiencing pain. Doctor, as we've highlighted earlier, doctors issue opioids. Quiet the pain down, numb the pain, kill the pain. And then a patient comes back, pain is still there. And finally, something breaks. The cells have damaged enough, or to a point where there's tissue damage, and something happens. Finally, with the Western machinery and with the X-ray or MRI or what have you, the doctor can finally see, oh yeah, you have a problem here. Yep, this is broken. This is torn. Or, this has ruptured. Yeah, now we've got a problem. You got a problem on your hands now. We'll have to take it out. We'll have to replace it. Unfortunately, patient has been coming to the doctor for how long now, saying there's pain here. And unfortunately, the doctor can't verify it until there's something physically wrong. The yin gen and the yang gen, what you cannot see and what you can see. A little review here, if you're just tuning in. The nerves and the sense and the feeling is what connects us to the yin gen and the yang gen, the physical feeling and the psychological, emotional, subconscious feeling. A little story here about myself. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for Western medicine and emergency services and practices, because it was maybe about 7 years ago now, my appendix ruptured. My appendix ruptured and I had no idea what was wrong. I actually waited 2 days to go to the emergency room to to see what was going on. My appendix ruptured and I waited 2 days to see what was going on. Prior to that, I had been feeling digestive discomfort, pain in the stomach, not sure what was going on. And then finally I was doing this physical activity and I was just really pushing hard. I can remember distinctly, and I think that's the time where my appendix ruptured. I was doing push-ups or something like that, and I was asking someone to give me resistance, pushing really hard, and then finally, bam, the body just gave out. And even after, with soreness throughout the body, just feeling a sense of lull and pain, discomfort. I had no idea what was going on, but when soreness went away, pain in the abdomen persisted. And so, long story short, I finally went to the doctor's office. The doctor was actually quite angry with me, and say, I don't know if you're going to live. I don't know if you're going to live. You're likely to be in the hospital for 5 to 7 days, and we're going to have to keep you on antibiotics. And obviously your appendix has ruptured, and what's it called? Your system is sepsis. You're experiencing sepsis, and basically you're being poisoned inside, and infection is spreading. And I don't know if you'll survive. So the next thing I know, I'm waking up in this horrific pain post-surgery, and I was in the hospital for 7 days, and I was on antibiotics for those days. After that, luckily, after that, I finally got a sense of the importance of gut health. How about that, huh? I got the importance from that experience of gut health, and so I started learning about gut health from that experience. So a little story there to give you an idea of I distinguish between Eastern thought, Eastern medicine, and Western medicine and approach. We're so lucky, aren't we? So lucky here in this Western world, for also me to be sitting here and to be sharing the story and not be subjected to the pain that a lot of people are being subjected to in other parts of the world. Yes. So here's an interesting thing that I learned. Have you heard of the gate control theory? The gate control theory. So what makes pain particularly interesting every time we experience something that hurts, like a stubbed toe or a banged elbow, our brain perceives it in a different way each time, depending on the state of our mental well-being when it occurs. For example, if you kick your foot against a table while you're in a good mood, you might notice it hurts, but not too badly. Whereas if you kick your foot while you're feeling low or you're in a bad mood, you may experience a sharper, more intense feeling of pain. And this can be explained by the gate control theory, which posits that there is a bundle of nerves in the spinal cord that act as a gate. And when it receives messages of pain from anywhere in the body, it allows some or none of those messages through. How open or closed this gate is dictates how much pain you'll experience. There's several things that are believed to open the gate, such as injury, narcotic use, little to no physical activity, and several things that are believed to close the gate to mitigate pain sensations, such as meditation, pain medication, relaxation, and exercise. What's more, emotional and cognitive factors can influence whether the gate is open or closed as well. Emotionally, if the gate is open, it's likely that the person was experiencing feelings such as depression, anger, or anxiety, or stress, and hopelessness when they hurt themselves. If the gate is closed, they're likely to have been feeling more positive emotions at the time, Cognitively, if the gate is closed, it's due to things like more effective coping thoughts and mechanisms, as well as distractions from the pain. And if the gate is open, it's due to things like focusing on the pain intensely and allowing thoughts to get carried away with worries and fears about the pain. So you can see how pain can be this never-ending cyclical loop. I talked about the notion of softness and approaching pain. So if you're experiencing pain, you'd like to reach out to me and hear about if you're ready to face the pain, because what we have to do is face the pain, not mask it, not cover it, not numb it, because it's still going to be there. And likely we're continuing the lifestyle that is contributing to pain. So what I did and what I helped people with is to face their pain. Here, the science tells us that cognitively, your emotional state and the way that you approach pain is going to be conducive to or detrimental to how you get rid of or eradicate the pain. From a Qigong point of view, we want to be physically, energetically, and spiritually adept to face whatever pain is coming our way. Physically, energetically, and spiritually adept, ready to face the pain and step into experiences that may produce a sense or a feeling of pain, but have the tools to mitigate the pain. So how do we do that? Again, noting the importance of the mental state. So meditation over medication is going to be more sustainable. When we meditate, we induce and utilize strategies of breathing. The breathing helps to induce a parasympathetic response. If we're sitting with pain, and if we're inducing also a parasympathetic response, which is rest, digest, and relaxation, then we can bring down the inflammatory response, because the nerves are sending those signals to the brain, telling you that you're doing something that is hurtful or damaging. But when it comes to healing those cells and healing those tissues, we have to be able to get into those small crevices, those small rivers and streams, and clear out the stagnation. When we focus on cell health, we focus on targeting those cells so that they can get rid of their waste, let that go out through the lymph system, and then also bring in new nutrients that will help to restore the cells and then also to heal those tissues there. So it is my practice to, one, sit with the pain, but yet also induce a parasympathetic response that's going to help to bring down, again, that inflammatory response. So I say you have to sit with your pain. When you sit with your pain, obviously the sensation and the feeling is not fun, and it's not sometimes it's not bearable. So when I'm working with people, I only take them to maybe a 5 or a 6 or a 7. We don't go to 10 from a scale of 1 to 10. You can't work from a scale of 1 to 10. And so when you start at a 6 or a 7, you can get into that area of pain, but then you can also help to restore those tissues there. Again, going back to what we were talking about, the body sends a feedback signal when pain is induced to seize tissues or seize muscles so that you stop doing that particular movement. So oftentimes we experience that, right? You do something, or you're walking or you're moving in a way that's painful, but then the body stops you. You seize, you lose your breath, and then you stop doing that. But then what does that do? It makes you fearful of doing any sort of movement again. And then it makes you psychologically stagnant and fearful. And then in turn, physically stagnant and fearful. And so then you get into a negative feedback loop where you're not facing the pain, you're not dealing with the pain, you're not restoring the cells, you're not restoring the tissues. And unfortunately, breakdown just continues to snowball from there. I hope that speaks to you or resonates with you. If you're interested in learning more, if you'd like some of the articles that I was just sharing, and if you're ready to face your pain and make friends with your pain, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at talkingchi@gmail.com, talkingchi@gmail.com. I'd love to share what I've learned and my experiences. What we call this in Qigong is Nei Shi Gong Fu. So quick thought experiment. What do you think of when you hear the word Kung Fu? Oftentimes we say Kung Fu. You think of like people fighting in movies and whatnot. But Kung Fu is time and energy and practice. That's Kung Fu. So when we say Nei Shi Gong Fu, that's the Gong Fu of internal vision. And so the internal vision, again, utilizes this concept of yin and yang dimension. The yin jin and the yang jin obviously are senses we use for external vision. And then we have our nervous system that we use for internal vision. And so if we practice this concept of internal vision, Nei Shi Gong Fu, we then can become masters of this Kung Fu practice, masters of Kung Fu in the sense of internal vision. And so obviously we're walking around within these earth suits that we are all temporarily gifted with. And so when you walk around with this concept of dual cultivation, spiritual cultivation, and physical cultivation, then you have this. And hopefully you can live long enough to reach the mastery level of this internal Nei Shi Gong Fu. So I hope that inspires you, and I hope that gives you some ideas to face your pain and to step into some movement practice, stop numbing pain or masking pain, and also step into situations, even in interpersonal pain, so that you can remove stagnation and restore flow, harmony, and balance in your life. This is Talking Chi. I'm Javi. And again, you can reach us at talkingchi@gmail.com, talkingqi@gmail.com. And I'm going to be sending it off here. Remember, the views and opinions throughout the broadcast day those of the speakers, not necessarily those of the station, its staff, or underwriters. And time will be made available for other viewpoints. Thank you for joining us. Shanine is here. Shanine is here in the studio, and she's going to be gifting us with Moon River Meandering today. Folks, have a great day, and get out there and face your pain. Godspeed.